Hello, everybody. This is Bart Sharp, and you are at Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3, broadcasting out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And not only are we broadcasting across the airways in the beautiful southern United States, which is probably spicy warm today, because we're not spicy warm today. We're getting there. We're in France, by the way. However, we were also on Roku, cable television, Facebook, Spreaker, and on the UPRN website and other internet platforms all over the place. And we're right in the cusp today of between Easter and the big eclipse on April 8th. And this is a sparking time to be initiating life and bringing it forth, almost like a grand celebration. Because, when you think about it, when Jesus died, that was the end of an era and a beginning of a patriarchal, man-made law era. Thank God for the Romans. And now we're right on the cusp of like turning another corner into the age of Aquarius. And today we have one of the most courageous Aquarian thinkers with us today, and Aletheia Sophia, or as we just call her, Aletheia, at AletheiaPistasSophia.com. Thank you for being on the show, Aletheia.
My pleasure, Bart. Great to be back here again.
Yes, it's always great to be at LeConte. We are in this wonderful hotel that is amongst nature. When you look out a window, you easily see 300 or 400 trees, like nothing but trees. And you look down on the ground and you're generally seeing a flowing stream that's coming from a source from the Pyrenees Mountains, nice, brisk, and cold, that would probably make even the fairies shiver if they got in it. It's really intense. And so LeConte is an adventure to come here and have a hotel stay in nature, but also in amazing power spots down a little bit lower than the famous Chateau de Montségur. And so it's a fierce place to run, which is our theme.
It really, really is. LeConte is asking for everything I can possibly lay my hand on, become, and because of the endless streams of water, there's no sense of rest. Mm-hmm. I often find myself saying, I have no time. And then the voice of LeConte says, well, be timeless. And I'm like, oh, cheeky, but true. So it's like LeConte is bringing me out of dualistic thinking and into that place of in between, which I've always said is the way through this moment that that's building up all around us right now.
The space in between that pushes you through, and this insistent energy that says we're not stopping. No. So what kind of energy source do you have to be in a world that is just continually moving? Literally, the springs that are gushing from the ground that also are used as torrents or torrents are used in it to bring electricity to the house. They're going under the house itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the hotel, excuse me.
Yeah.
So it's really incredible.
Yeah. I don't like to use the word hotel. I don't like to even give it a name, because what I love about this place is that a regular, innocent bed and breakfaster will just turn up thinking they're here for the night, and all of a sudden they bump into these spiritual folk, UFO folk, Magdalene Cathar folk, historians, treasure hunters, And it begins in the evening. They're sat in the library, and then it begins again in the morning. We do our somatic practice together, and these regular folk are like, where am I and what is going on? And they're just opening up, and that's the ones I
Yes.
love coming to LeConte.
Indeed.
The unexpected.
The unexpected. And it's all in the freedom of choice. This is not a cult group. We'll have just to say plain right out. They're not trying to seduce you, though, into joining in and living in LeConte. They just want you to come and spend time. And I think some of the differences between a cult and another more altruistic means is service.
Yes.
Is to serve the people that come.
Yes.
And then let them go.
I also think another reason why it's happening so fast and so beautifully here is because at the heart of this is a family. We're not gurus, we're not cult leaders, we're not trained by anyone. It is me, it is my mum, and it is my husband and companion, Christy.
And 40 goats.
And 23 goats. So, none of that covert, shadowy business is here.
Yeah.
And also my dad in spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the magic ingredient. Because people say, oh, is this a community? No. Is it a hotel? No. What is it? We don't know. It is.
I just love being here, and I love just talking about this place because it does have that open-endedness to it that things are quite possible. And so, we were talking about this earlier because they have goats. I mean, that they have gathered or they've attracted through people having wounded animals and no place to go. So it's an orphanage, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yes.
And we're saying, well, what is the symbolism of goats with Aletheia and Pete or Petey? What would she call
Petey.
it? Petey. And when you look at symbolic with goats, is they climb. They're kind of going into places that other animals can't go that seem impossible, and they're tenacious. Persistent.
Yes. Curious. Yeah.
And that's so much about what this is about, because you've been doing this. I mean, how many books have you written?
I think 10. Just popped number 10 out.
Popping them up.
A week ago.
Just pop. Thank God they're books and not children. Not to disrespect mothers out there, but books are easier than raising children. We're all in agreement with that.
I do have 10 baby goats, so I know. Yes, all of a sudden I know what that requires.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite books is Fierce Feminine Rising. It's badass.
Yes, it's badass. It comes from personal experience of not being badass. So earlier in my life, I was a little bit naive, a little bit wet behind the ears, a little bit too innocent, perhaps, seemingly perhaps, because the mystical journey, there is no perhaps. Everything is tailor-made, bespoke, and perfect. So I was going into one of these dodgy communities that we just spoke of. And I had married the leader. So I was really in, hook, line, and sinker. And I didn't want to see what I was seeing because that is going to change my narrative big time. And after letting a lot go where I should have spoke up and spoke out, finally there was a moment where the straw broke the camel's back. And we were talking about that fierceness, the difference between fierceness and anger. A tremendous fierceness came through me from the great deep, from beneath my feet, because it was in connection to a young girl. It wasn't a sexual thing. It was nothing inappropriate like that. But this poor little girl was having to live under a law put about by the guru that I felt was extremely unfair. She wasn't allowed out of her bedroom till 11 a.m. after we've all stopped meditating. This big, heavy law was laid down. She was about 9.
Wow.
Something came through me that says, this is not right. She's meant to be playing. She can come out of her bedroom anytime she likes. If she wants to go in the garden, play on a swing, make a den. There is no way the children should be underneath the laws that govern us, the adults. And it was a bit of a Jesus in the marketplace moment, because I was at the kitchen table with the inner circle. And if you've ever been in a cult environment, you know that's not good. Because you know you're not addressing one person, you're addressing many. And I stood up and I actually did fists on the table. All I wanted is for that little girl to be out, to be free, to be a child.
Yeah.
Boom! I had let something out of the bag, and the whole inner circle went zah. And of course, the person at the center is my husband, and he has been publicly challenged by his wife
in front of a group of people.
Totally. It was not good news. But this energy remained. It didn't go back down. So I'm red-faced and sweaty and veins out here, no doubt. And, how dare you speak to me like that? Blah, blah, blah. But it just kept on coming. In fact, I was quite happily repeating myself over and over again. The children are not living under the laws that govern us. I must have sounded quite bizarre because I didn't actually change my sentence.
But
and then I realized this is not my voice.
But that's beyond the intellect.
Yeah.
That's really going into fierceness.
Yeah.
The words are just a small part of the message.
Yeah.
It's all of that energy. It's like, and it brings up the question is like, can you get all of your fears or your shame or your other repressed parts and let them just get out of the way a little bit?
Yeah.
So that fierceness can come through.
Absolutely. It's like a juggernaut. And there's a little part of me that stepped out to look at what am I saying? Is this untrue? Is this, I don't think I had the intellect, as you say, to say, is this my ego? It was more like, what is happening here? And I knew I was speaking on behalf of life. I also knew in that moment, oops, marriage is over. I'm not in the inner circle anymore. I'm probably not even in the community anymore. Oh, that's good, because that's what I want anyway. So it's like the house of cards was falling.
Yeah.
I knew I'd crossed the line, and everything that was secure all around me was dissolving. And I had passed a ring past, couldn't go back. There's no way I could say, I'm sorry. Can I ask for your forgiveness? Can we all be friends again? I was burning the house down. And I still check, and is it worth it? Is this little 9-year-old worth it? Yes.
Yes.
I'll just be me and my suitcase at the end, if that's what it is. No car, no home, because obviously community had everything. Yeah. I'll just walk out of here in what I'm wearing, because this little girl, don't even know her, but she's worth it, because it's not just the little girl.
It's not.
It's all those kids.
It's all of those kids. And,
yeah.
And there's qualities you could say, oh, well, that's courage.
Yeah.
But it's also surrender and allowance.
Yeah. Let it fall.
Like if you follow that surrender, how intense in your fierceness do you have to become?
Yeah. And can I tell you what happened?
I can't wait.
Within hours, the husband, the leader, packed his suitcase and was on a flight back to England. So I thought, oh my God, the battle of the ages is about to begin. I'm going to be gaslighted and this and that and, psychologically impaired by the power of the inner circle. Everyone went silent. He walked out, must have got straight on an app, booked a flight, within hours, gone.
Wow.
And of course, with the instruction that I too had to leave. But it was a peaceful leaving. There was no trouble, no one breathing over my shoulder.
Wow.
And said goodbye to everyone and drove away to Rennes-les-Bains. So I was in Provence,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, there's no way I'm going back to England. So I just drove to Maison Christina. She gave me a room for the month, and I had to rebuild my life from scratch because I had €7 in my pocket.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now,
And that's such a turning point.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're in a bottom, but at the same time, it's your own form of, they use this word a lot in the United States. I hear this all the time. Like, this is who I am. Sovereignty.
yeah,
And it's like, I am sovereign. And I'm just like, do you really know what the hell that means? You know,
yeah,
you have to go in
yeah,
really deep into yourself and go, no, I have this truth inside of me.
yeah,
And absolutely, no matter what, it's going to be mine, and it's going to be as pure as I can get it.
yes,
My own honesty.
yes, yes,
And
yeah,
it's like that is sovereignty.
yeah. And the amazing thing is, I never did meet the little girl because she was in the bedroom.
Whoa.
And by the time everything had left, I had left. By the time everything was settled, I had left. So I often wonder, if she'll ever know what happened. Because, those rules weren't there. Because he left the community. So she didn't have to live under those rules. And the community soon collapsed after that within weeks. So everybody must have just gone back to their original home. And I often wonder, if there'd ever be a little knock at the front door and a young woman be standing there who said, you fought my corner.
Wow.
And we didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
And in some level, you probably bestowed something to her. Like in my family, I was kind of the odd child out. But my grandfather had faith in me. He was always glad I was there, supported me, and gave me something my parents were too busy to give. And that was instilled in me all of my life. And that's what I think people of power instill in other people. You've walked through fire.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no problem.
Still a few scorch marks.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and that's so much about bestowing that. So after you hit this bottom, what realization did you have about yourself?
I was curious about what was that came through me. Where does that come from? What's blocking it? Lots of shame, especially around the voice.
Right.
Yeah. Also appearance, embarrassment. So that's another form of shame. Because you can't keep your composure when it's coming through.
Yeah.
No, it's too powerful. As I said, it's a juggernaut. So if you think your beautiful, peaceful looking face is on show, think again. Think again. It's and so I guess, being in France, caves, primordial places. So I began wanting to make contact with that. And so my intellectual, I guess, gateway was the Black Madonna and her blackness and the fact that she's mostly found in the cave and how she will embrace everything with a thirst and a hunger for it.
Yes.
You're going to come to me with some judgment. You're going to come to me with some shame. You're going to come to me with some violence. I open to that.
We'll sit present with it.
Yeah.
And let it be right there. So it's right there in front of you.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see what it has to show you.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold it in the closet anymore.
No. In fact, I long for this material that you bring to me. This is my Black Madonna. This is my nourishment. You're bringing me a gift when you bring me the worst of all things, because I know exactly what to do with it. So if you just come to me and we have a good old embrace, and you open up your belly and you open up your heart and your voice, and you just let me in my blackness siphon it off and it out of you into me, the great furnace of the mystery. And in a few moments, when you have cracked yourself open because you could feel the immensity of my love for you and this, I will recycle it and send it back into you through pure light, through my kiss of peace. That's what I found. That's what I found. And I went, yum a doodle.
That is what the shadow can do. And it's almost like, I think women possess this more than men. The shamanic work I've done over the years, that I see some women emerging with a huge dark energy that is vast. And it's a huge power. It's not a dark energy that is evil or anything, but it's like the Black Madonna. It's holding a vastness of darkness, which is on the opposite side of the light. I think the darkness can be manipulated a lot more. However, they're always in this balance, and everybody says, oh, I want to be in the light. I want to be in the light. I want good and life in my life. Anyway, that good in life in your life always has this balance. And those that have gone to the other side, or they naturally hold it, they're kind of leaders. They hold that. Because we, in this society, Western society, we almost stand up upright like a ballerina. Proper, on the toes. And stiff. And balance with that, but it's very rigid. The darkness is kind of the opposite of that. Free flowing. Anything's possible. We got a vast resource of energy.
I was contemplating the other day, in early Christianity, Jesus said, if you really want to send forth a good prayer, do it at noon, do it at midday, and know that I am fully above you and you are casting no shadow. And I was like, whoa, that's a good one. But then I went, hang on a minute. We have the light, we have the dark. These two places, there's no trouble here. The light's the light and knows itself to be the light. The dark is the dark and knows itself to be the dark. The dark doesn't cast shadows. It's only the light that casts shadows. And maybe it's the shadows, the in-between. I'm neither light nor dark. That's the agents that create trouble. We're like looking at the dark. Grrr. You're the one. You're the scapegoat.
Yes. You're the scapegoat.
Like, no, I'm not. I'm just dark. I'm just being dark, okay? It's the shadow. Why would Jesus say, pray to me at noon, when you cast no shadow? If you really want to be straight in, noon is your moment.
I think it has a time and place. To go totally into the light, but it is no better than to go totally
into the dark, into
the earth, into that shadowy place of the darkness. And meditate and go into those places.
Absolutely, the primordial.
And you might say it is in a cave. If you astral travel, go to some of these places in the caves in France. You astral travel into the ground and be in another reality that is that safe, dark place. In the words of Darth Vader, you don't know the power of the dark side. But it was really right. I mean, that movie is astounding. It doesn't mean you have to go out and do evil things.
No, I'm not saying that.
That is a mistake.
When we look at Jesus, here's another great thing. I was talking about it this morning. So the Romans have persecuted Jesus. They've flogged him. They've humiliated him. They've put a crown of thorns on him. They have done all sorts of terrible things to his body. Joseph of Arimathea goes to the governing forces and says, I would like to bury Jesus in my tomb, in my ancestral tomb. Can we have permission for that? Yes, of course. And not only that, they gave them guards. Now, if you really despised Jesus, here's your opportunity to get your last boot in. But no, these seemingly hostile forces took a step back, respected the funerary rites, allowed the Holy Family to do their thing. He's allowed to go to this beautiful ancestral tomb, and no one is going to disturb this sacred act because we are going to be on guard. The most mystical experience is about to happen.
Yes.
And the Roman centurions, those who have done the worst of all things, are now honoring this is what's going to happen next. And so I like to drop those little pebbles in the pond and say, just how hostile are these forces?
Yeah.
So if you take you and your life and the hostile forces around you, and they're really giving you what for, just maybe, just let that mystical mind open. Just maybe they're not as hostile as you think.
Yeah.
They're leading you somewhere.
Maybe it's symbolic of, like, let me hold this thought because I just want to tell everybody you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. And my guest today is Aletheia Sophia. And you can find her at www. And I'm going to spell out this name because it's tricky, just like this woman. Aletheia, Pistis, Pistis, Sophia, SOPHIA.com. Aletheia Pistis Sophia. And you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. I am Bart Sharp, and we are on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And we are also on Roku, cable television, Spreaker, Facebook, YouTube, and the UPRN website, all over the friggin' place. So going back to this wonderful conversation, we can have like a parent that is kind of like our own little Roman attitude.
Yeah.
Like they're the bad guy.
Yeah.
And we project all of that onto them. You have any thoughts about what we're doing there in Roman context?
No, is the honest answer. Because I would say the nearest and dearest around Jesus did not project onto the Roman centurions doing their thing. I believe they had enough to know they are fulfilling their task perfectly. Bespoke, tailor-made, timely perfection. Onlookers could well have been projecting. You're doing all sorts of terrible things. But when you were just as you were saying that about the parent, we might have the idea, the feeling that the parent, the partner, my thing is partner, is the adversary. Really is your opposite and opposing force.
Yeah.
And, is in your face constantly.
Yes.
So what we may do is say, hang on a minute. Just how hostile is this person really? Where are they actually leading us? They might not have this great enlightened plan where they're leading us, but our soul is being led somewhere by this great adversary. And if we look at the Christ story, if we look at any mystical saint, anyone who's received gnosis, we were talking about Moses earlier,
Yes.
It all comes to this great epiphany, this great awakening of truth, of liberation, of sovereignty, because of the hostile path. Moses was a murderer.
Yes.
Moses was a murderer and God's chosen one.
I'm not surprised because she told me this earlier, which my jaw dropped earlier today. I just can't do it twice in 1 hour. So,
and this beautiful scholar who was on the documentary says God has a funny old habit of doing that. All of his chosen ones are broken and wounded and flawed in some way. He seems to really like those folk. And that's when I thought, great.
Yeah.
We're in good company.
Yeah. And maybe it's just like it's the trials and tribulations. With that, it's to be the killer isn't always like you're damned by it.
No.
But once again, you go into that shadow and see exactly what that is for you.
Yes.
And try to find your purity with it.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of, like, I've been around some people very close to them as in recent months that are very controlling, that are always giving me advice, much like my father. And so something inside of me was almost like a knee-jerk reaction of resist, become defensive, become mad. And it's always separating me from just being empowered. Just by that, you know, whatever your limitations are, do you allow them to take over you? They want to react. They want to be in there.
Yeah.
They want to have a voice.
Yeah.
And to me, that's about some of the fierceness is, can I have that fierceness inside of myself to really not fight that being, but see what that pain is?
I've got the word eruption floating around. I believe there is an eruption, and I think that's why we try to keep it down, because we know everything about us, you know, the pack of cards, everything is about to change. And there could well be a heck of a lot of judgment coming our way, because it is an eruption.
Yes.
We've got, as you said, a tight little ballerina body. We're going around being very pleasing and polite and well-mannered, some of us in the West. And a volcano wants to come through.
Yes.
So can you allow the eruption?
Exactly.
Yeah. Unapologetic eruption of primordial truth to come through you.
Indeed.
And can you say, I don't want your advice? And should it have that fierceness, they'll never do it again.
It's almost like being a dog, and that a dog does not, because they're so connected to that primordial expression, they know when it's time to just look at somebody, when it's time to growl, bark, or bite.
Yes.
But they know the difference of how much intensity, and they just give you enough.
Brilliant.
It's like, this is enough to go, ink.
Yeah.
You got
totally,
it.
Bart, you got it.
It's really caring.
Yeah.
But I just remember when you keep that volcano down, and sometimes it explodes and you create a mess. And everybody's looking like, I didn't know he was like that.
Yeah.
And it just pops out. So in Fierce Feminine Rising,
yes,
you're really getting in touch with that energy.
Yes. And I'm also bringing what I call sorrows of the world. So in case it's just falling flat within you, I've got like 13 places of deep sorrow for me, of things happening on the planet, mostly around animals. So factory farming, you know, really using the skill of the written word to portray the conditions of factory farming, and of all sorts of stuff happening in AI, and all sorts of stuff happening in the medical world, which we will read Fierce Feminine Rising and go, oh, that's ridiculous. That couldn't happen. It did happen.
Yeah.
It did happen with the pandemic.
Yes.
And you know, all of this is still happening.
It is.
So if it's not landing within you and you can't feel the volcano come, then keep reading, because one of those sorrows of the world is going to be your sorrow of the world. And you will go, okay, let it through. This is the subject that ignites me. I mean,
Indeed.
I'm not walking around living my life having like willy-nilly VIP access to the primordial force. I wish I was. I'm not. It's come up again recently because our goats had babies.
Hmm.
And it came up again between me and my partner. I was telling you about it. I'm not going to go into details.
Yes.
But that same mighty force that was going to protect the babies rose up again and fiercely challenged the husband.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's how the fierceness starts to come forth. It's not, anger is a part of that, but there's no repressed anger in it. It's like, this is what the moment requires.
Yeah.
And when we look at something, whether it be, pollution in the ocean or, pollution from cars or, the list goes on and on about what we can become passionate about that we see as, these are wrongs, these are unjustness in the world. And we can't cure all of them. But we can still have this fierceness for change that creates a wave that this stuff is changing, because whether we know it or not, things are changing. We're cleaning up the ocean. We are solving the problems. We're not solving all the problems. We got lots of problems. And I think when we look at history, we've had lots of problems in every year of life. It's just part of it. However, we're coming to a time where we're opening this up, and we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
We're recording this on something like March 29th. We're coming into Easter. This show will be airing on April 3rd, and it's right in between Easter and this big eclipse on April 8th, kind of in between. And so when we look at fierceness in this time, Easter and this eclipse are all about planting seeds, about change, almost like this eclipse will mark like turning a corner to another opening in the Aquarian age. This is like a launch. Just like Easter, when you are at Easter, you're going, I'm rebirthing. I'm going to have this new year of spiritual growth, a little bit more purity, a little bit more forthrightness. And it's supposed to feel really good. But I'd say we need to remember our fierceness about what we love.
Yeah.
Are you willing to jump into it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Lacan's.
Yes.
You had to be fierce to run this place.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I remember a little visual saying, I, the house, want you to stand at that front door and say yes to some things and no to the others. I want you to really know exactly what you're allowing in. And I'm like, you have so got the wrong person. I am never, because I'm quite short, I'm 5'2.5", that there's always this feeling of feeling small and that others are way bigger. So I'm like, you've chosen the wrong person. I'm never, ever going to be able to do this. But I keep getting shown that I can let that power through.
Yes.
And when I do mean no, holy smokes, I really do mean no.
Yes. And just to tell you a little about I've known you for 6-7 years, and you were doing a lot of channeled work with Sophia, but you were being a messenger of all of this stuff from a Sophia message, almost like as you told me, well, it's a wisdom method. It's a wisdom message, excuse me, that just seems to come through me. And you've been out on the net doing all of these workshops. You have a worldwide audience. And to me, when you say, well, I'm this little bitty 5'2" girl, it's it's like, what?
We all have our thing. That's my thing.
Because you have part of power is people believe you. And they get that power inside of you, that primordial force. Part of that is fierceness. Part of it is sexual energy. Part of it is just being embodied in yourself, in that most core energy of yourself. All of those ingredients are so important that it makes you believable. And it can be positive, and it just is forthright.
Yeah.
I see that in you. It's like you have those ingredients. It just walks. We never see it in ourselves because we just are too used to ourselves.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. We're still playing catch up with our spirit. Like, my spirit must be in this like incredible place, and my body and my personality and my character, who thinks she's small, it's like, hold up. I'm trying to get it to you as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Spirit's like, it's perfect. You're doing great.
Maybe the difference in that is that little bitty girl isn't a judgment that she has to use like a force to push things through life work. It's like A, B, C, D. And then that fierceness, that is a invisible energy.
Yeah.
It percolates inside of you. And it comes forth when needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is something that we can really cultivate.
Open up to, not be afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to places where you can find it. Like a cave. As a woman, going into a cave that goes on and on forever by yourself, that definitely produces some material, especially when no one knows you're there.
Yes.
And, you're quite reluctant to go in for the first time in case you can't find your way out. So you're immediately catapulted into the lap of that unknown presence.
Wow.
Yeah. So there it is, live in the moment.
The strength to merge through, the darkness and be totally comfortable with it.
I have a confession. So I take people into the caves.
Oh, yes.
With the head torch.
You're my kind of
and
girl.
We all go together. Yay. And we go to the back of the cave and we flick our torch off. And we're there for 1 hour, breathing in the dark. Silence. Now then, you take those people away. I go there by myself. The light is off for about 15 minutes maximum, because the overwhelm of thoughts is so strong, so palpable, so like, I have to flick the light back on. So, yes, I sound impressive and all of that business, but in reality, in my everyday character, I can sit in that cave for 15 minutes by myself before I get kidnapped.
Isn't it funny how thoughts seem to do that to us?
Especially in dark, lonely places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Existential. It's like I'm going to run out of air. There's going to be a rock fall and I'm entombed. Biggies, big mammoth ones come up. Torch. Looking around. It's okay. But this is the Catholic initiation caves.
Yes.
It's meant to do that. Well, it still works.
Yes, in that same valley, this is in Tarascon that you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's 300 caves in this valley area. And the Cathars, the people who've really followed teachings of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, as we're told, that's been passed down. It's not in books. They lived in those caves to do exactly what you're talking about.
For weeks.
Yes.
I can only rustle up a quick 15 minutes.
But it's also a time of it's different. It was a different time.
Yes.
That time was very quiet.
Yeah.
We have internet, television,
Yeah.
fast cars,
Movies.
et cetera, just spinning.
Yeah.
And it's spinning our DNA to concoct something else.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that that's a limitation.
Mm.
I just think that's what is.
Yeah.
And we, in the evolution of humankind, we are evolving to something else. We got a quick mind.
Yeah.
But we got quick power.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we have to go and keep finding what that is inside of us.
Yeah.
Because you're creating, you just think about how much you've created in the last 5 years.
Mm.
And somebody 1,000 years ago
No.
might take 3 lifetimes.
Yeah. 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 Good insight, Bart.
We are in this place of being speeded up creators of magnificence.
We got a big grandfather clock
Oh,
downstairs, which I got from the Bracon. And I was like, oh, I wonder if it works. Anyway, we got it to work, but it's faster than time. And I went, oh no, we've got a Back to the Future clock. Please don't say this is a symbol of what's happening here. So you set it on the hour, but it's 20 minutes faster. And of course, it's not a it's more of a I'm like, no, stop it. It's funny.
It is. But you could just put a little picture right on or a little 3 words right in the middle of the clock.
Yeah.
That says now.
Brilliant.
And
yeah. Oh, I like that.
Just remember.
Yeah.
We can let go of time.
Yeah.
In all of those places. Yeah. So that's what living a life of fierceness is having this adventure where you buy grandfather clocks and experiment and bring in new ideas and new teams and new discoveries, because you really have done all of these things. And it takes something of a belief deep inside of you that you can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not even in your own home country.
No. It's really quite wild. Yeah. I could take another little confession. About 10 days ago, because obviously we're investing a lot. 10 days ago, I had 91 pence in my bank account.
Ouch.
Woo! That's how close the shave is, from investment to incoming. We know we're going to get a good income this Easter. We got a lot of guests. But just before they arrived, 91p. That's 90. Wow. That's less than 91 cents. Are you willing to go there? Are you willing to invest not just money, energy, emotion, belief, faith, trust?
This is so Aquarian.
Are you willing to go to 91%, 91 cents?
Yeah. And not give up.
No.
It's like, no, we're turning another corner.
Yep.
And this is Aquarian.
Yeah.
Aquarian is all about invention and creativity, but also following something deep inside of you that just won't let you stop.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I would imagine if we asked Petey, oh, we're going to drag you off of this place. We can't do it anymore. You'd be like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We're not doing this. No matter what the struggle
is. That's right.
Passion is so much greater.
Yeah.
And so we ask this to the people in the audience. It's like, keep searching for your passion. Keep finding what that is inside of you, that when you do it, you're terribly excited. It brings you every day. And it's a lot easier to find than you think. It's one step at a time.
And remember, God's chosen people are broken.
Yes.
She loves those folks.
It does.
We're in good company.
And I suspect this is you. It's like, how many adventures have you had that you knew in your heart you just had to do it? And, it's just like, well, there's no 401k. There's no insurance. There's no security in a lot of places. And then I don't mean you should give up your bank account or your 401ks or your insurance if you have them. But can you go beyond?
Mm.
Can you go beyond something inside of you that you're finding that excitement and joy again?
Mm.
Even if you're working in a corporation, you can still find it. Predictable becomes unpredictable sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're coming down to the last 5 minutes. And I'm going to do call information one more time. And I'd like to just ask you to contemplate this question, and you end the show. It's like, what is that message of fierceness and lessons and that you would like to impart upon everybody? And I would just like to say one more time, we are in a very important time. I am so excited to be here in France, to be a part of this eclipse energy, this part of this change, part of Easter, because this is a time to launch. This is a time to celebrate it. We've made it to another level, and maybe to just let go of some of the dramas that you think that the world is terrible. And yeah, there's things that are really weird in the world. However, we're still here. We're still creating, and that's what this new age is about. Is can you do that with your biggest love and passion? And you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. I'm Bart Sharp. My guest, Aletheia Sophia, that you can find at AletheiaSophia.com. I don't even think you have to get the name right when you type it on the internet, but she will pop up. And you can get into some of her books, videos, teachings, a whole variety of stuff. And also you can find a line to reserve a room at Lacan and take a vacation to France and be in pure wildness and high vibrational energy, ETs, fairies, beautiful nature, and goats all at the same time. How does it get better than that? So that's a big word. So you are on United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 on Roku, Spreaker, YouTube, Facebook, and the UPRN website, and much more. Oh, yes. And next week, we have Melinda Pratt on, and we are going to go into the harmonic flat spot. And all I can say is you're probably thinking, well, what's that? Well, it's a new invention. And it's about learning how to be in the source original energy of you and how to embody that with a meditation technique. And it's amazing. So that's something to look forward to. And that would be on April 10th. So, Aletheia, what parting words?
My parting shot would be, do not be concerned with the outcome. Because in my tale, I gave you quite a different ending. The outcome was quiet, peaceful, quick, no more conflict. And I think that could be one of our tripping up areas. We're so worried about the outcome and what people and what and how. Don't go it. Just go for it. Go for the eruption. And then you'll see, and then you'll know.
Yes. I guess you're getting into a really deep place inside of yourself.
Yeah.
In that deep peace and connection.
Yes, yes. Because what I notice about fierceness, sacred fierceness, is that it's truth. And there is no argument. And that has been my experience. It can't be argued with, can't be defended against, can't be resisted or rejected, because it's shattering truth. Wow. All that can happen is that some folk will just scuttle away. They just can't handle it. Fine. Find out, folks.
I love your
Make some
stories.
scuttling.
Scuttling.
It's like a crab.
And this is all about fierce feminine rising. One of 10 books that Aletheia has written over the years. You can find them on our websites and various other places. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Bart. Lot of fun. Thank you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, and so next time, have a great eclipse. Bye-bye.